Good morning, fellow champions and friends of the channels. How are we doing today? I'm feeling good. In fact, today is Wednesday. It's probably the first time I have felt normal since Sunday. I went very heavy on Sunday and I have been recovering ever since. And this is the first time I feel normal again. So a very good morning to all of you. Welcome to the Boring Brew. Let's talk all things Arsenal. Looking forward to the game on Saturday. I'm confident that Arsenal will get a win, and me and my brother are going to book a hotel down in London, and we're just going to be there for the vibes, irrespective of what happens. And we're going to be there for the parade as well. But let's get into some of the stuff, shall we? Good morning to you, Mr. Chris. How are we doing today? I am well. I'm better, I think is the best way I can say it. I have not been good, but I'm better. All right, so first of all, Mikel Arteta has bagged himself a Manager of the Year, Manager of the Season award. It's well deserved. I think there were some other managers that were in with good shouts. Pep was in the running. I never really thought that he was, going to be a worthy winner. And then obviously for me, if it wasn't Arteta, I would have been going with the Sunderland manager. But Mikel Arteta is Manager of the Season. First time that Arsenal are champions in 22 years. He is the man to break the duck. He does it with 85 points, which is better than at least 6 previous championship winning totals. And he's done it with one of the best defenses ever constructed in the Premier League. I'm not suggesting it's the best defense ever constructed because I think that belongs to Chelsea. But certainly one of the most consistent and most intimidating defenses in Premier League history. And one of the things that makes it so special is that, Arsenal were always criticised for being so poor when it came to the rough and tumble of football. You had teams like, Tony Pulis sides rolling us over and making us look silly. And so, it's really good that Mikel Arteta has been able to create something where not only do we have a strong defense, but we have a strong spine. We have a team of players that don't get bullied easily. And that lends itself to the success of the team. And I couldn't be happier. Like, I genuinely couldn't be happier. Arteta, worthy winner. I would have given it to one of Andrews, Iriola or Lebris. I said Andrews for me. He was doubted by everyone and everyone for Brentford to go down. Yeah, I predicted Brentford to go down as well, to be fair, Chris. But Andrews has had an incredible season. Iriola as well. But for me, if it was not Arteta, it has to be Sunderland. And, we're going to talk about it in a minute. But my words, if Sunderland have already made European football, but my words, we're going to talk about 115 in a minute. And that could change everything for Sunderland as well if what could potentially happen does indeed happen. So, yeah, I think that, winning the Premier League like this as well, I think just puts Arsenal in such a strong bargaining position going forward when it comes to the transfer window. Obviously, they won't be doing anything too heavy just yet. They're sounding out people by the looks of it. We'll talk about that later. But the Premier League is persuasion enough to make players look up and think, actually, it's time to go to Arsenal. It puts them in a really strong position. But I also think that, my words, if they get the Champions League over the line come Saturday, we're looking at the potential beginnings of a huge dynasty at Arsenal. And I don't say that with any kind of stretch of the imagination. If Arsenal win the Champions League on Saturday, the history of this club going forward, I believe, is going to look very, very different. And that's true. The transfer window will be quiet during the World Cup, so people are going to get things done early and they're going to have to get things done late. So people are going to want to move early on this. They're going to want to get this sorted. Players are going to want to have their futures already, done and dusted. So, there will be movement pretty quick on some of these transfers, I think, which means I think that, some of these transfers could be quite expensive as well, because selling clubs will then also have to bring in replacements, and then you've got the merry-go-round off that. So, I think that it's one of those ones where everyone's going to want to get their business done early, because the thought of having to get it done late just sounds like rough business for everyone. But let's talk about 115 FC. Hand of Arsenal. He tweeted yesterday. I'm assuming it's a he. but it is my understanding there is a seriously confident expectation now for a decision on the Man City 115 cases to be delivered in the coming weeks, sometime in the summer latest. All Premier League clubs await official communication. This for me is crazy. And look, if Hand of Arsenal says something, generally speaking, I would die by that, because this person has been so consistent and has been so accurate in the past with information and doesn't tend to go unless there is something to go on. So if Hand of Arsenal is saying that we are going to be getting something very soon, I think we will do. And it will be interesting to see what the outcome of that might be, because the obvious thing would be is that you would expect huge points tally taken off and severe repercussions financially as well. And it will be interesting to see when this would come into place. So is this something that would happen immediately? Is this something that's going to be sorted immediately, as in it still comes under this season's protocol, in which case could they be relegated right now and West Ham would be reinstated to the league by hook or by crook, ironically? Or is it something that would come into place next season and they would start with a severe points tally then? And does this lend itself as to why Pep has gone, Stones has gone, De Silva is gone, and then would you expect to see a huge exodus of players leaving the club, and probably for pittance, depending on the severity of this case? My thoughts are that I don't care. I'm glad that Arsenal won it before this, right? And I'm glad that Arsenal beat them and beat them properly. 7 points clear, not even close in the end, right? But I don't care when I want it to happen as soon as possible. I don't care I want it to happen. If it can happen for this season's tally, I want it to happen for this season's tally, and I want them to get relegated right now. Get them out. Just get them out. If they are what they are, get them out of the league. Going to be strange seeing a final at 5 p.m. Yeah, no, that is weird. Thing is, if City are getting away with it, that it would be sorted by now. Yeah, you have to think that there's going to be this would all be done by now if it wasn't going to be anything, right? Relegate City from football altogether, so my local team Carlisle can get back into League Two. Big up the Carlisle. Yeah, look, if Pep has gone, and it's interesting that Pep is still going to be working for the group in some way, which I think is interesting to say the least. But they've brought football into disrepute. And then when you look at it like that, there are, how many times would Liverpool be Premier League champions? 5 times now? How many times would Arsenal be champions now? 5 times as well? Would they be drawing with Liverpool right now? Would they be 5-time Premier League champions? So, how big is this going to go? Is it going to be something as small as a transfer ban, or is it going to be something as huge as you're relegated, and you're relegated right now? Especially if it's going to be announced in the coming weeks. If it's going to be announced in the coming weeks, then you have to think that it would probably take its toll on this season. I would like to see that. I just want to see justice done. I just want to see justice done. And people will be talking about, you've got to feel sorry for the fans there. I don't think I do, actually. I don't think I do feel sorry for them. I think a lot of Man City fans have kind of lent into the 115 FC thing and have kind of embraced it and allowed it to become part of their culture and personalities and the way that they banter people. And so for that reason, and obviously, some of these are like faceless X accounts based in Nigeria or whatever, but they're just rage baiting accounts. But you see a lot of fans, and quite a lot of high profile fans, like YouTubers, and they're bantering people, and they're kind of leaning into the 115 thing. Oh, it'd be a smack Chris and all that. And I want to see justice done, because it's ruined the integrity of the league. And I think it needs to be answered. Yeah, look, with that many charges, it needs to be a big punishment, and hopefully it will be. Hopefully it will be, because it's not fair. It's just not fair, and it's not okay either. I just wanted to share this with you real quick. On the overlap, I don't know, they had like a winner's special, and I don't know if you can see here, but we got Gary Neville receiving a signed Arsenal shirt from Mikel Arteta and Josh Kroenke with Ian Wright sitting by the trophy. But you just think like, good, you little weasel, you're getting yours now. Do you know, there's a part of me that's even like, why did Arsenal agree to do this overlap interview? Like, why would they agree to it? Like, surely that's not part of like the Sky contract that they signed, that they have to work with people like Gary Neville. I just don't get it. But at least they had the opportunity to make him squirm. And there's a few others as well that should have been there at that table with them, getting signed T-shirts from the championship winning manager, Mikel Arteta. There should have been a space reserved there for Jamie Carragher. There should have been a space reserved there for John Obi Mikel. There should have been a space reserved there for Patrice Evra. All of those players, all those ex-players, Peter Schmeichel, Shay Given, all of those players, all those pundits should be sitting there getting their signed T-shirt from championship winning manager Mikel Arteta, because for time, even Robin van Persie said that he doesn't see them winning anything of winning any Premier League titles with Mikel Arteta as manager. And it took time, granted, but he's finally delivered, and people need to hold that. I won't be happy if they've cheated Klopp out of titles, even Rodgers out of a title. Exactly. How many titles would they have? At least, would it be 6 then that you guys would have? Would it be 6 titles? The thing is, I think the 115 are related to, maybe Arsenal wouldn't have 5 titles actually, because I think the 115 are related to crimes before 2019, so before Mikel Arteta was even competitive for these titles. So perhaps not. I think Arsenal would still be on 4. Neville is a champagne socialist who thinks he's there with Manchester. That's funny. Morning, Rob and chat. Good to see you, Brian. Quiet one this morning. To be fair, I didn't really commit to many sessions, to many boring brews this week because it's half term. My wife has gone out with the kids this morning. I have to go to work, so I thought I would jump on and do a quick chat. But I'm going to talk some transfer stuff as well. So it'll be good to get your thoughts on that. So first of all, let's go. Well, actually, no. Let's talk about Barcelona. Has anyone seen that Anthony Gordon has now been linked to Barcelona as well? Which I think is telling in a couple of ways. First of all, I still don't know how they're going to afford him. God knows how Barcelona are going to be able to afford him, because they want Alvarez as well, which is kind of funny to me. But we'll see. But it does say a lot about maybe where Rashford is going to be next season, because obviously, if they're looking at Gordon, then surely he can't be at Barcelona next season. So he'll be returning to Manchester United. Now, if he does return to Manchester United, does Carrick take him back in, or are Man United looking to sell him? And if Man United are looking to sell him, where could a likely destination for him be? Because I can't really see him going to many teams in the Premier League. I can't see Arsenal having him now. Obviously, Liverpool is a no-go. Chelsea under Xabi Alonso, maybe. I can't see him going. Maybe he goes back to Aston Villa, but after that, I don't really know where Rashford goes in England, at least. So you're probably looking at either going back to Spain or the German league. I don't know if he'd want to go to the Italians league just yet, and it would mean a massive pay deduction as well. So I think that Gordon move is one to keep an eye on, because if he does indeed end up going to Barcelona, then Rashford is practically out on his arse. So where does he go from there? But yeah, okay, fine. Let's talk about and if you guys have seen any links for your own clubs, drop them in the chat, because it'll be interesting to see them. Gordon linked to Barcelona from his team or Barcelona's side. I'm not actually sure, to be honest. I've just seen it sort of promoted on social media. Rashford stays at United, in my opinion, which I wouldn't want, to be honest. Ego and attitude stinks. Yeah, but do you think maybe that was a consequence of working with Amorim? Do you think that there's a chance that he could do better things under Michael Carrick, especially coming in from the left wing? Potentially. He's still a very good player, isn't he? I don't know. I mean, it doesn't make any difference to me. I just, it's one of those ones where I'm like, just Arsenal. Surely we're at a different place now. That's all I'm saying. Arsenal, we're in a different place now. We don't need to go there. Okay, well, fair enough. I don't know the ins and outs enough to be able to comment on that. But if that's the way it is, then sure, maybe he needs to go somewhere else. But it'd be interesting to see where he does go, because I can't see him going to, like I said, I can't see him going to many teams in the Premier League. But this one I thought was quite interesting. Where is it? Is it this one? No, it's this one, isn't it? Right. So, I mean, it is Fabrizio Romano, so take it with a pinch of salt. But the Juve CEO, Damian Comoli, has said that basically Yildiz is untouchable, right? For me, he's the left winger that I would like to see Arsenal go for. I just think that he has the most of what Arteta looks for in a winger. Likes to invert, can play tippy-tappy football, can unleash a shot, can link up play quite well. I think he's the type of player that I would like to see Arsenal going for. However, if this is true and he is untouchable, we're not going to be able to afford to let Juve let him go. I don't think Juve have the football though, do they? So he might be able to, he might be gettable, but then also the wages that would go with it. But he's the one I would like to see us get. However, if he is untouchable, these rumours here are looking pretty concrete, and that Arsenal are looking to buy Morgan Rogers. Now, for me, this one does make sense because Morgan Rogers obviously is a Premier League proven player. He's the type of player that Arsenal have been shopping for in recent years. And what I mean by that is players who have been successful in the Premier League. You look at Leandro Trossard, you look at Kai Havertz, you look at Declan Rice. There was someone else. Kepa's playing in the Premier League before. Did I say Trossard? And there's one more, isn't there? Ben White. So Arsenal have strengthened within the Premier League. And so I think that someone like Morgan Rogers does make sense. And he can play on the left. And apparently his youth team set up when he was a kid, he was a left winger. It was only when he was at Aston Villa, really, when they started using him more central. I think that also lends itself to Arteta too, because Arteta does like a total footballer. So he likes players who can do most things. So having someone who can play left winger but can then also play attacking midfield is the type of thing that I think Arteta would like. I also think that he's a bit of an... do you know what he reminds me of? Because he's not like a natural winger in the traditional sense. He has that kind of Perez about him where he can kind of come in and play a little bit as well, which is what made him so successful when he was playing for Arsenal. Let me just jump in the chat real quick and then we'll come back to this. Wasn't Rashford the leak at Man United? I don't know. May well have been. Gordon is good, but 75 million is having a laugh. Couldn't agree more. But it depends on where he's going. In the Premier League, they can probably justify that because he's homegrown. And they'll say he's homegrown talent, so he adds to your quota, so 75 million. Maybe Barcelona get him cheaper or spread it out, like £70,000 a year for the next 100 years or something like that. Garnacho brother as well, Brian. So they were both links, were they? Twizer 001, good to see you. Big up. Thank you for being here. While I've got people in the chat, just remember, please, to like the stream, get it out there. And if you wouldn't mind subscribing, I would be grateful. I think I'm on 124. It'd be nice to start chasing down 130. So 125 next would be wonderful. Thank you. Good to see you, Darkside. And Darkside checking in. Listen, mate. Great stream last night, by the way. So we did a stream together. We did Arsenal keep, sell, loan, bench. So check that out on Darkside stream. That was really fun, and it's worth a watch. Yes, I forgot about him. Okay, so we're referring to Garnacho. I'm warming up to the idea. Is this to the idea of having Morgan Rogers at the team? I think it's likely. I really do think, of all of the links I've seen, this one I think is the most doable. However, Aston Villa have just won the Europa League as well, so I think it's going to cost more to get him because they're going to look at it and say, well, we've got Champions League football. So we were linked to Rodgers, but we want two wingers apparently. Yeah, I mean, could you see yourselves going for Bowen? Could you see that? Or are you guys thinking, I just really want to get... I mean, if you guys could get Elise, then you'd be sorted for the next few years on the right wing, wouldn't you? Especially to replace Salah. Was in a meeting, told them I needed coffee, and they let me leave early. Get your brew down, you boy. Get that brew down, yeah. I think it makes the most sense when you think about it. How old is he? Let me check for you, mate. Morgan Rogers is 23. So he's basically smack bang in the age profile of what Arteta likes. He's a confident football player. He's total football. And, I made the joke about this last night on Dark Side stream, but Arteta loves a total footballer. And don't be surprised if you see Zubimendi playing at right back in the Champions League final on Saturday, is all I'm saying, because it just lends itself to the type of thing that Arteta could do. So, and I'm distracting, but I do think that Morgan Rogers is the type of player we could sign. And at 23, still got 10 years. Arsenal could keep him for 5 and still sell him for decent money. And, a lot of people feel like he could probably become one of the top 5 Premier League players over the next 5 years. So, 85 million for him is probably good money, or is probably at least understandable. 5-year contract, depreciates by whatever it is, 85, 90, by about 17 or 18 million every year after that. British talent, would link up. You've basically got an England midfield then, haven't you? You've got you could have Rodgers on the left, Miles Lewis, Skelly, Declan Rice, Saka, and then Eze. You've got an England midfield. So I mean, that's crazy. That is genuinely crazy to me that could be it. Do you know what? I feel like I've convinced myself even more. I think we do need to get Rodgers. I think we're all on the same page. Rodgers is the one. Rodgers is the signing we should be going for this summer. Diomande and Barcola, to me, are the left wingers. I know they can play both, but that's me being shameless and hopeful on Elise. Listen, for me, do you know what? I don't think Barcola is the one, man. I just don't think he is. And I'm not suggesting that he won't be good enough right now, but Liverpool needs someone right now because they're in a bit of a shambolic position right now. They need to, Elise would be the one that would raise you, I think, and he would make you better going forward. But I know they can play both. Oh, right. Sorry, right. Okay, I see what you mean. I think I misunderstood where you were going with that. I wouldn't be... I mean, I know that you guys have been linked to Diomande. He's a good player. Barcola, I don't think so just yet. I would say... Elise would be a fantastic signing for Liverpool, but even for a couple of years at 29, Bowen wouldn't be a bad signing. I don't think he'll be sold for 20 to 25 million. I cannot see that at all. I think that our teams are still going to have to pay for him. I would see a minimum of 40 million, I would say. Just based on transfer patterns, irrespective of him being a championship player now. And he might not be in a couple of weeks, don't forget, because those charges look like they're going to be announced soon. I can see us signing him along with 2 wingers now. Ekitike is injured, and he's still going to be injured out for a very long time, isn't he? But, let's be honest. That is not one of those injuries where you come back from them very quickly, is it? So, yeah, I think if Liverpool get Elise, I think that's excellent business. I think if they get Bowen, I think that's good business. But for Arsenal, we're looking at ceiling breakers now. And I know that it probably means that Martinelli will go. Fond of him, love him, but he hasn't improved enough, I think, over the last 3 years, where if you looked at maybe the 23-24 season, or was it 22-23, we were looking at him and Saka and thinking, oh my God, everyone else is in so much trouble. And then if you look at the echelons that Saka has climbed to, Martinelli just hasn't kept up. However, I can see a world where we keep him and Trossard and still sign a left winger. Now, hear me out on this. Martinelli is at this moment in time happy to stay at Arsenal for the rest of his career. Which would then see him become a bit of a sort of a fringe utility player. The problem is his wages, obviously. But I can see a world where he might even stay because he's just happy to be bench and fringe because he loves the club so much. But then he'd obviously have to agree to a pay cut, I would think, long term. But I can see a world where that does happen. And I also think that there is an element, we discussed this on the chat yesterday, but I also think there's an element if that he could. Sorry, what I mean is that don't write off what a player can become if they go elsewhere. So there was rumours that PSG were looking at him, and they're not going to play him on the left wing, are they? So they're looking to play him as a striker, and you only have to look at the transformation of Dembele to sort of say, like, you know, there's still capability. And obviously I'm not comparing the two, but what I'm saying is that players can surprise you, and Martinelli is one of those players who may indeed surprise us, you know. So I just wanted to kind of say that out loud as well. Don't be shocked if we get Gordon from Liverpool. Used to play for Everton, has house near Liverpool. Hughes best mates with Howe. Yeah, and he's a Liverpool fan, Gordon. But God, they spent a lot of money. I don't see anyone getting Kvaratskhelia, mate. No one. And if anyone is getting Kvaratskhelia, it's Arsenal. You can hold that. He's not coming Liverpool, mate. If he's coming Liverpool, I'll be fuming that Arsenal haven't tried to sign him, because Arsenal have got probably the better finances right now. And what I mean by that is in terms of money they've earned to be able to afford a deal like that, whereas Liverpool dropped $500 million last summer and got worse. So, you know, like, I don't know whether they can then drop, because, you know, Kvaratskhelia is going to cost at least Kvaratskhelia is going to cost at least 150 million. And I'm with Darkside on this. If he comes to the Premier League, it's only because he's coming to Arsenal. And I'm saying that with chest. I'm not saying it with ego. I'm just saying it because of all the deals and all the teams that he could come to in the Premier League right now. Kvaratskhelia is the obvious one. Sorry, Arsenal and Kvaratskhelia is the obvious deal. If he goes to any other team right now, in my opinion, all of the other teams are in transition. Liverpool are in transition, probably going to get a new coach. Man City are in transition, might even be Championship fodder next season or worse. Chelsea are in transition. Tottenham, Man United are in transition, right? So the only team who you could look at and go, this is ready to go, is Arsenal. So if Kvaratskhelia comes to the Premier League, it's because he's choosing Arsenal. The deal is going to cost a minimum of 150 million euros just to get done. And then you're looking at £400,000 a week in wages. I don't even see Arsenal doing that myself, right? And so as far as and unlikely as it is, if he comes to the Premier League, it's Arsenal. But my God, I don't know how they're going to work the wages out. I really don't. Arsenal have the finances and the clout to bring in the most players they want. It's going to be a big summer. I think so too. I spoke about it yesterday on stream with Darkside and Rory. And I sort of said that Arsenal, I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal don't actually go big in the midfield. I would be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't, go big in the midfield this season. I know we've been linked to Denali and others, Wharton, Anderson. I know some of those deals are looking like they're done and that these players are going elsewhere. But I know that Arsenal are looking at supposed to be looking at midfield, but with the sort of resurgence of MLS, maybe we don't need to spend as much money now. Maybe we can go a little bit cheaper with more a project-based player, maybe like a Matias Fernandez at West Ham instead. I do think we'll sign a right back, and I do think that Ben White will be moved on, sadly. But then that leaves two positions and a lot of money to spend: left wing and someone to replace Jesus. Now, the obvious one for Arsenal fans would be Kripke Jr., but which is kind of wild to me. Real Madrid are seriously, or have been over the past 12 months or so, seriously considering Kai Havertz. Now, I can't really see a window where Arsenal let both Jesus and Havertz leave, but it could happen. And if they do, we're talking about a big pocket of money to improve the left wing and the forward position. Now, if you buy Morgan Rogers, he helps you cover left wing and 10, right? Which is then a world where I could see that Martinelli does stay. But then I see Arsenal going really big on a forward player. Who that is, I don't know. Why ours? Apparently Madrid would like Havertz because of the way he links up play, and they see him as the best in the world in his position at doing that job. Now, obviously, that's not saying that they're not saying he's the best striker in the world. Clearly, that's not what they're saying, right? What they're saying is, in terms of the specific function that he provides for his team, they see him as the best in the world at doing that link-up play, dropping in and bringing in the wingers or the wide players. What that means for Real Madrid and who they might be looking at selling, No idea. But it would be interesting to see how that works, especially when you're considering that Jose Mourinho is going in, and he likes the Rodri type. He's used players like Kai Havertz before, obviously not on the same levels, but Didier Drogba could link up play. He wasn't just a 9, was he? Didier Drogba was a ball-playing striker. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. But if that does happen, Arsenal have got a lot of money to spend on the left wing and the 9, or the new 9. And, that's where Arsenal could be spending their money when you're looking at a Rodgers and potentially a Krupi Jr. Slot verdict by next week. I'm hearing he's on holiday this week. He might be on holiday for longer as well if that verdict comes in negative. I need to hit Darkside Rooney's impression again. You'll voice note it. They said that about Liverpool after last season. What about them being in transition? Because I know I'm a little bit further ahead now, so I don't know what I've said and what I've missed. Sorry, Brian. Good to see you, Blade. Thank you for being here, my friend. Welcome. We've had quite a good chat this morning, actually. Mostly about transfers, to be fair. But we did talk a little bit about the 115 implications that looks like they could be announced soon, as well as we laughed a little bit at Gary Neville being presented this by Arsenal, a signed Arsenal shirt. There should have been some more players sitting next to him, though, receiving their humbling, but they didn't. And yes, love for each other in the chat is always welcome and positive and good. I think I've gone through everything I wanted to talk about today. I think the only thing is it would be good to see how many of you are going to be going up to the parade on Sunday. I'm probably going to be staying in a hotel on Saturday night, regardless of if Arsenal win or lose, just so I can be there for the vibes. I think people will be upset if we don't win the Champions League. I feel like we're going to win it. I just do. If we don't win it, I'll be disappointed, but I don't think it's going to ruin my life like it would have done if Arsenal hadn't won the Premier League this year. So I think I'll be going up Sunday night regardless, and then I'll be there for Sunday morning. I want to get some content while I'm there, but I'm not really sure what to do. So I might just do vibes and just get loads of stuff out there and just get like a nice montage of things that happen and special moments. And it'll be good to bump into some of the fans that you kind of like enjoy interacting with. So like for me, I would love to bump into Hilsey. If anyone has seen Hilsey and some of the stuff that he does, he's the type of fan. Lauren Kirk would be quite cool to bump into as well, and she always does quite funny media. And it'll be nice to finally meet people like Darkside after speaking to each other and streaming together for like 3 months. But yes, I think I'll wrap there. Guys, I appreciate you being here. 30 minutes is a good number, and it'll be potentially tomorrow. There'll probably be no stream. Friday maybe, but I'll make sure I put a comment out to make sure that you guys know what is going on, winning the league and being the place to go to. Look, one of the things that I think is great is that Arsenal get bantered and ridiculed so much in the mainstream media and on platforms like this and platforms on X. By the way, I am doing God's work at the moment with X accounts. Any faceless account that comes up, I click on it, look at where it's based. If it's in India or Africa, I'm like, this is a rage baiting account, block it, and then moving on with my business. However, Arsenal get theirs. And one thing that you can't say about Arsenal is that, my words, there's some fans out there for Arsenal, and Arsenal fans run the streets. Like, let me make it very clear. I'm biased, obviously, but Arsenal run the streets. All right, there are very few teams that could do what Arsenal did on a random Tuesday night in the middle of the week. And they're expecting over 500,000 people, I've heard, for Sunday. I think it could even be more, right? You look at Man City's parade, that was pretty pitiful. Apparently, Aston Villa had 50,000 people at their parade. We're talking of 500,000 people. Like, Arsenal run the streets. You can say what you like with the media. You get these clickbaity talk sports segments, Sky Sports overlap, all of that crap. Social media, X, YouTube, people can say what they like, but my words, Arsenal have the streets. And it's incredible. and it's incredible. What Neville should have said is, can I have a shirt with Ole Ole number 2 signed by... No, he should have had after review number 19. That's what he should have had. But there it is. I'm going to finish there. Appreciate you all, and I will see you either Friday, I would suspect, or Saturday morning for a last-minute stream before the Champions League final. Guys, take care. Have a good day. Enjoy the weather, and I'll see you next time out.